Hello, everyone. We will continue our discussion of steps of systematic review. So, last time uh, we were discussing about um, the third step, which was that how to um, assess the study quality. And today we will discuss about how to summarize the evidence. To summarize the evidence from the studies of variable designer quality is not easy. Once you have gone through all the steps of systematic review, like you have formulated a particular question and then you design your study, you communicate the data, gather the data, and then you make sure that you have you can say a good quality of review papers in your study. Then the next and toughest part is that how you summarize the different evidences from different overall all the review that you have done. So the association between exposure, so the examples we have taken in previous studies is that fluoridating water is cancerous or not. So when you are summarizing you will be summarizing, if you are summarizing that a particular topic, then you will say, okay, the association between exposure to fluoridated water and cancer in general was examined in 46 studies. So you can quote here the total number of studies you have considered and what association you have considered doing those. What was the objective of that study? You have to look at the studies in that perspective. So of these 26, 10 examined all cause cancer incidence or mortality. In 22 analysis, of these 11 analyses were found a negative association, fewer cancers due to exposure, nine found a positive one, and 2 found no association. So whatever you find in your study, you can summarize it in the form of numerical facts and figures. And it is just an example of how you can summarize that. So only 2 studies reported statistically significant differences, and thus no clear association between water fluoridation and increased cancer incidence or mortality was apparent. Bone and joint and thyroid cancers were of particular concern because of fluoride uptake by these organs. Neither the 6 studies of osteosarcoma nor the 2 studies of thyroid cancer and water fluoridation revealed significant differences. Overall, no association was detected between water fluoridation and mortality from any cancer. These findings were also borne out in the moderate quality subgroup of studies. So that's how you can actually see the different prospects, or you can see the whole review in from different perspectives given in the paper. Obviously, when obviously not all the studies will be in similar in nature, so they will be on similar topic, but they will be covering or related to a similar topic, but their perspectives, their methodologies, their outcomes will be entirely different. So you will have a luxury of time and luxury of space to think, and you can present your perspective of what you think and how the trends in these studies are going on. In the fluoridation example, the focus was on the safety of a community-based public health intervention. So step 5 is that after you summarize the evidence, so just remember that you have just summarized the whole review in step 4. Actually, whatever you call it, you can call it the results or summary or evidence, whatever. So actually, you have just summarized. You have mainly you have presented that in from your perspective. Now, next thing is that what are your findings about these studies? For example, the example given here is in the fluoridation example, the focus was on the safety of a community-based public health intervention. The generally low quality of available studies means that the results must be interpreted with caution. However, the elaborate efforts in searching an unusually large number of databases provide some safeguard against missing studies. So that's how you cover up for the studies which have a less relevant literature available, and also the quality of the literature also matters here. If you think that the literature presented in the databases is not of a high quality, then you can obviously cannot jump immediately to some conclusions. We just have to wait and search for other studies in other databases, and so that if you find something, you may find something which can fill some gaps in the current review. Thus, the evidence summarized in this review is likely to be as good as it will get in the foreseeable future. Cancer was the harmful outcome of most interest in this instance. No association was found between exposure to polluted water and specific cancers or all cancers. So that's how you can summarize it depending on what you have in the literature, but I'm summarizing from the perspective of my example. The interpretation of the results may be generally limited because of the low quality of studies, but the findings of the cancer outcomes are supposed by the moderate quality studies. So, what is the resolution after all this, after going through all these 5 steps? After having spent some time reading and understanding the review, you are impressed by the sheer amount of published work relevant to the question of the safety. So, that's one of the motivation of doing the or study of reading the review or systematic review, that the reader gets a overall you can say perspective of what is going on in that particular area or in that particular domain or topic. However, you are somewhat disappointed by the poor quality of the primary studies. Of course, examination of safety only makes sense in the context where the intervention has some beneficial effect. Benefit and harm have to be compared to provide the basis of for decision making. On the issue of beneficial effect of public water fluoridation, the review reassures you that the health authority was correct in judging that fluoridation of drinking water prevents caries. From the review, you also discovered that dental fluorosis was related to concentration of fluoride. So these are some of the you can say results or outcomes that you can find from these studies. When the interest group raise the issue of safety again, you will be able to declare that there is no evidence to link cancer with the drinking water fluoridation. However, you will have to complain about the risk of dental fluorosis, which appears to be dose dependent, and you may want to measure the fluoride concentration in the water supply and share this information with the interest groups. So this is very interesting about these kind of systematic reviews. And in this particular scenario, where fluoridation of water, drinking water, is beneficial or not, it can be based on the evidence that we find in these studies. There is no direct evidence of that fluoridation can cause cancer, but there is evidence that it can lead to dental fluorosis, and you have to do this in some fixed concentration. The ability to quantify the safety concerns of your population to a review, albeit from studies of moderate to low quality, allows your health authority, the politician, and the public to consider the balance between beneficial and harmful effects of water fluoridation. Those who see the prevention of caries as of primary bottles will favor fluoridation. Others worried about the disfigurement of mortal teeth may prefer other means of fluoride administration or even occasional treatment for dental caries. Whatever the opinions of this matter, you are able to reassure all parties that there is no evidence that fluoridation of drinking water increases the risk of cancer. So, because the main question here was that whether the drinking water can result in the cancer. So we were mainly concerned about the outcome of the whole process of the scenario. But there are other factors that can relate to the study that came out of these review, which are like fluoridation may be beneficial or may be harmful as well, depending on the how you administer it and how you treat it, whether you treat it as a medicine or whether you are just taking it as a precaution. So that depends on the fluoridation of drinking water yeah, and the concentration of fluoridation that has been done. So that's the overall resolution of the whole systematic review that come into play. So that's all, and hopefully that helps. And see you next time. Bye. Take care.